Welcome to the Victors Nation podcast. I am your host, Jason Robinson. My people, Derek McCarty and Dre Fame. We saw smash football this past weekend. We got the dub, boys. Love it.
We did, and there were times where my confidence level wasn't super high as the game progressed. I was pretty satisfied. I was pretty satisfied early on. I felt like we welcomed USC to the Big Ten in the best way that they possibly could have been welcomed into the Big Ten, and that's by running the ball down their throat over and over and over and over again.
It's pretty cool.
So
Love
yeah, yeah, it was great. It looked like I mean, Dre, you were there, but it looked like an unreal atmosphere to start Big Ten play. It's been you know probably the toughest 4 game stretch of anybody in college football. We've got to have one of the toughest strengths of schedules out there, having played USC, Texas, and don't discredit the difficulty of the Fresno State game to start the season. There, we said it after that game. We said it before that game. That was a good program, but after what we saw against Texas, I was certainly pretty jacked to see what we ended up seeing on the field this past Saturday, on offense, on defense. No turnovers on offense, and defensively, I thought we started to look like our team from last year again. I was really impressed with, at least in the first half, the way the defense looked. But Dre, what was the atmosphere like at the stadium, Dre? What was it like tailgating in the stadium post game?
Actually, the tailgating was how it always be. Is pretty fun, and I get pretty well liquored up before I go in the game, man. So it was pretty cool. We had some USC fans, and they was pretty awesome, man. And just like I said, the tailgate was cool. I had J.U. Chesham and Connor Stallion stop by and taking pictures and doing a little autographs and stuff like that. And that was cool. I got to chop it up with them, and it's always good to chop it up with Michigan legends and pick their brain about stuff that I inquire about and all types of stuff, man. So that that part of my day was absolutely awesome. The game, the atmosphere. First thing I gotta say is I'm proud of us Michigan fans for pulling the stripe off. It looked awesome. For me being in there, just looking around and just never seen this before in our stadium, and it looks so awesome. Granted, we had a couple reds in there, burgundies or whatever that color is, but overall it looked totally awesome. Everybody came in and did their job with the colors, and like we showed out with that, and I'm proud of us as a Michigan fan base. I can't say that much, but the atmosphere was crazy, man. It was super loud. Everybody was interactive. Wasn't nobody sitting down. I mean, to be honest, the atmosphere kind of reminded me of like, oh, Cardinal Red. Okay, whatever. The atmosphere reminded me of when we played Ohio State with Hutch and we beat them the first time. Even though that was kind of way better, you know what I'm saying, due to the circumstances. But when I tell you, it was loud in there and people was interacting with everybody. We was talking. I mean, the USC fan base, they own their stuff, man. They don't never stop with the chants, and that band don't ever start playing. It was a great. This is why you love college football, man. It was great. I'm glad they're in the Big Ten. We get to play them on a regular now. It was a great game, man. I'm just happy we pulled it off.
Yeah,
it's a great addition. It's a great addition for sure. I mean, most watched game on TV this past weekend, which, I mean, that's usually Michigan regardless, but we were talking before we went live. It was like the loudest I think it got was like 114.65 dBs with decibels. I mean, that's loud. I mean, you can hear it coming through
everybody was on
TV,
their feet. Like, it was crazy.
Yep. It was a great turnout for our first ever stripe out game. It was like we showed up. Loved it.
Yeah, we really did, and I'm proud of us for it.
Mm-hmm.
It looked amazing.
It looked pretty cool. Yeah, it looked pretty cool. But let's dive into the game. So, that this was a tough start to the season, and this was the start of Big Ten play. And we talked about maybe some disappointment throughout the fan base after the Texas game, but every goal is still in front of Michigan on the season. So the goal to repeat for the fourth time, a four-peat of Big Ten championship, still right in front of them. And it started with USC. It started with another tough game at the Big House to open up Big Ten play, which seemed kind of daunting considering that we were going to the Alex Orji offense for the first time. But the Alex Orji offense delivered for us. So coming out of the game, 290 yards rushing, 32 yards passing only. Right, so pretty impressive in the modern game of football to be able to run the ball for 290 yards and pass the ball for 32 yards and still win the game, courtesy of a 4th and goal from the 1 yard line punch in from Khalil Mullins. And you got to give shout out to Max Bredesen for his big block to open up that hole. But Jason,
hold on. We got it. Hold on. We got to give a shout out to Link too for before that 4th and 1. We got to give him a shout out for opening that hole for the 63-yarder too. Without him, that don't get over.
He's got some more work to do. He didn't look throughout the whole game. He didn't look great. But
no. Not saying he looked great, but that play, that's him. That's him.
That's him for sure.
So. Sorry to cut you off, but I had to give him a shout out though.
The offensive line, right, and offensive line in general played their best game run blocking at least. Pass blocking was still a little bit light, but Jason, so let's start with you, Jason. What were some of the biggest takeaways? What were some of your takeaways from what you saw out of the offense this week?
Well, welcome back to the 60s, boys. I mean, that game, I mean, we already knew the plan, right? So we got to play our game here and there for sure. USC knew the plan. We still ran through their spirits. They couldn't do a damn thing, even dragging certain defenders along for the ride. Derek, you already talked about some of our stats as well, too, with rushing and passing, but 32 passing yards. That was their fewest since 1987. Fewest by any FBS team in a win over a top 15 team since 2014. So, I think we were looking up the stats. I think ESPN had it, but Florida beat Georgia with 25, 27 passing yards. But you know what? I'm going to take it. No interceptions. First half looked great. I mean, we protected the ball. There's no interceptions. We didn't have any all game, so love to see that from our quarterback play. But obviously, 32 passing yards, we didn't pass the ball too much, which is kind of predictable. I mean, we already knew we were going to run the ball pretty much the whole game. But nice pitch to Moore. We'll get creative when we can. Derek, you already said it again, but 290 rushing yards, 3 and 3 on fourth down. But our offensive line, got to give them a little credit here as well in this game, too. They're starting to gel a little bit together, but a lot more work to do. But they're trending up. They did some adjustments in practice. They made it more physical. Mullins, 159 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 17 attempts. So on that final drive, I know we kind of talked about it a little bit. I mean, that's obviously the play of the game. But we completed one pass, went 89 yards. And then to win it on 4th and goal, including that 63-yard run that we just talked about, that run and truck by Mullins. So, I mean, God, that was attractive offensively. 63-yard run was absolutely amazing. But, yeah, like Brett was just saying right now, too, welcome to the Big Ten USC. I mean, they got to see Big Ten football up close and personal. So, it was great. Offensively, I know we're going to get into the second half. I'm kind of chomping on the bit because I got some things to say as well, too, defensively. But and then a lot of good things in the first half as well. But offensively, we played our game more then some, but even then too, like, can we just like quickly talk about the refs for a second? That game was trash by the refs. Like it wasn't great, like at all. But I'm gonna take it. It didn't seem too present around us to our rival fans cry and start an investigation. What's new, basically? But even that, I think it was the USC's nose tackle. Like, how is that not offsides as well
Oh
too?
yeah.
Because that was the same
Hey, man,
drive that we had
hold
that
on, hold
delay of
on,
game,
hold
and then
on.
not the first time. I mean,
Hey,
I don't get it.
how even he on our side, but how was that Kenneth Grant sack at the end of the half not a face mask? If we gonna go there,
That's why I'm bringing it up. I'm not
Both
going into
ways.
like the whole details, but there was a few face masks on us. That's why my point is like they weren't too present against us. Delay a game, probably not a first down if it was reviewed and they just didn't review it, and USC didn't challenge as well either. So
Yeah.
the game just went our way. It is what it is. I'm not a ref. I wasn't there, so we'll take the win, take the dub.
Yeah, absolutely. Dre, what were your biggest takeaways offensively?
all right. Now we're gonna start with the running backs. I'm gonna start with the running backs first. Khalil Mullins have deserved his right to be RB1. Not saying we don't need Donovan or we should sweep him under the rug. I still think a good idea is to run what is it when in a gun was split and had Donovan run out motion to the slot or some swing passes or something like that from shotgun for Donovan. I don't think you see his touchdown was on the outside. It wasn't from the inside. You know what I mean? He broke it to the outside. That's where he is more comfortable. And if they ain't gonna use them like that, they might as well just go ahead and keep using Khalil Mullins because it's so effective. You know what I'm saying? It's so effective through the tackles. He's averaging nine some yards, 9 point what yards a carry or something like that. Or am I saying it right? Is it 9 something yards?
Around there.
Yeah, I don't got the paper in front of me, but yeah, he been doing this thing, man. So I couldn't take nothing from him. So he deserved to get more carries. Until Donovan get his, I don't know if it's a confidence thing. I don't know what it is with Donovan, man, but he's just not looking too good. You know what I'm saying? And I know that fumble kind of messed with him as well because he really ain't see too much action after that. Now let's go to running. Yeah, it's 8-1.
Yeah,
8.1.
Yeah, really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it was something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Really good.
Yeah, that's fantastic. But let's go to Alex Orji now. I think he played great for what, you know what I'm saying, he was asked to do. Do I think he needs to get it down the field more? I think he will with more game reps and the how more comfortable he getting, how they open up the playbook. I think we'll have more than 32 passing yards. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that was gonna ever happen again. And if it does, we better be running the ball like we did with 290 some yards. Our O line, man. Man, it's like hit and miss. It's like here one play, they're not another play. Here one play, they're not another play. Like if we can get some consistent O line play, we're gonna be dangerous with this run game. And our receivers, it's the same thing, man. Y'all not getting no separation, and then with us without Loveland, I don't know when he gonna return. You know what I'm saying? But us without Loveland right now, you know what I'm saying? That's our best offensive wide receiver, tight end, or whatever you want to call him. So and he out. It's just I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we can't keep running the ball 90% of the time for every game. First of all, that can get somebody injured. Second of all, when defense is holding on to it, they gonna stop it. You know what I'm saying? We got lucky. We got lucky Saturday. I'm sorry to say it, and y'all know I'm a die a Michigan fan, but and if they cut me open, it's probably gonna be Maize and Blue that run out of me. But we got super lucky. We got super lucky, man. Like to the point where like we can't do this. We can't do this no more. We got our offense got to get dynamic, creative. Like man, some got to give, man. Because I mean, yeah, look, USC let one go. You know what I'm saying? But hey, we got to get creative.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know how much more creative we need to be. So I think the thing is the reality is going to be if we run 60 plays, 40 to 45 of them are probably going to be run plays.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Most of the time, no. And so when we do that,
well, with them 20 to 15 pass plays, they have to be something that get him comfortable to at least, you know what I'm saying, comfortable in a rhythm, so he can be like, all right, I got this on third and 2, and we can't keep, you know what I'm saying, we gotta have something else. We gotta have something else.
Yeah, but we basically went full service academy. Is what we
and
did.
That's what a lot of people have been calling us, a new service academy.
Right?
And I don't like
right that's what we were. But Khalil Mullins definitely I think has grabbed RB 1A, and I think Donovan Edwards is RB 1B. 1A and 1B is the way that I think those two are going to work. I think that the important thing moving forward is going to be feeding whoever's hot, right? And that appears so far this season to be Mullins, because he gets so many yards after contact that the biggest difference between the two of them is the yards after contact. I guess it goes both ways.
Like he gets stronger after contact. It's crazy.
Yeah, and Khalil Mullins gets stronger as the game goes on. That's one of the things is that he's running. He's probably not running harder, but he appears to be running harder in the fourth quarter because he gets stronger and the defense wears down. But so they got their strengths and weaknesses. Khalil Mullins is going to get run down from behind. He doesn't have that home run breakaway speed, right? Donovan Edwards, if he gets in the open field, that's pretty much always going to end up being a touchdown. But Khalil Mullins is going to chip away and break tackles, and he's going to turn 2-yard gains into 5-yard gains. He's going to turn 5-yard gains into 15-yard gains. And that's where typically what we've seen out of Donovan Edwards is he turns 2-yard gains into 2-yard gains and 5-yard gains into 5-yard gains. And then he has the big play fireworks that came out again this week in a big game of busting long touchdown runs when he's got a gap to do that. But I think that they're both running pretty good this year. And as far as the offensive line goes, I think that on the left side of our offensive line, they're playing pretty well. Miles Hinton is the best offensive lineman on the field in pass protection and run blocking. But Preby right next to him at guard is doing pretty darn well as well. And then I would say that Giovanni El-Hadi, he's had some ups and downs, but I was about to say him and Link got some work to do. That's how I feel. I feel like he's actually settling in at least in the run game. El-Hadi is playing pretty well with his run blocking. Link is a redshirt freshman, so he's gonna keep getting better. And there's the fact that they haven't subbed anyone in for him, like at center, Dominic Giudice and Greg Crippen have been rotating a little bit. Yeah, they've been rotating a little bit. So you can tell that there's still a little bit of a competition going on there. But the fact that they haven't put anybody in for Link tells me, one, that either there's not or there's a big gap between him and who's behind him, or they know that the best way to make them better is just to get them reps and to let them get beat occasionally and to let him take his lumps, but then to go back and correct it and let him fix his mistakes during practice and get out there the following week. So, offensively, I thought we came out and started throwing some body shots. I absolutely loved on the first series of the game at our own 34-yard line going for it on 4th and 1. I thought that sent a huge message to the Michigan offense and to the USC defense of, hey, we're gonna come here and we're gonna just beat you up.
It's gonna be a long day. You're in for. Yep.
And they did.
I love
now
it, man.
Offensively, where I thought so. I don't have a lot of gripes about what took place in the passing game because of how we actually kept them pretty off balance in the first half with our run game. Our run game was called really well, where the orgy runs were kind of an extension of like what a short passing game would have picked up, right? Where it kept the defense unbalanced and it kept them honest. Just the threat of him running the ball kept the defense honest.
You don't know who's getting the rock. That's what it is.
Right.
Yeah. Surprise.
And they threw the ball just enough to make sure that USC's defense knew that there was the threat of the pass. And there was one play, I think it was a pass intended for Tyler Morris down the sideline that probably would have been a completion if he wouldn't have been held. There was no flag on the play, but he got tugged pretty good, and the ball overthrew him by maybe 3-4 yards, where if he didn't get that tug, that actually was not that bad of a ball. So I don't have a lot of gripes about what was or wasn't in the pass game because of how unbalanced our run game kept. But where I do have gripes with what we saw on offense doesn't have anything to do with the players on the field, but it has everything to do with some of the play calls. We came out in the second half, and we came out slow because we tried to get too fast. It's like we decided that USC was going to adjust to what our run game was, so we tried to adjust away from it. So instead of going back early in the second half, we came out and we started trying to throw screen passes and stuff instead of just going back and starting to throw those body shots that we're picking up, even the ones that were picking up 3-4 yards a crack, that's getting us to 3rd and 2. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we want to be. So I felt like we kind of over adjusted and went away from what was working to try and outsmart USC when we didn't need to. And then I think that the worst play call so far this season was throwing the ball on 2nd and goal. Number one, it gave USC a free timeout by being an incompletion. Number two, we were inside the 5-yard line, and there was not we could have had 4 consecutive shots, four shots to run the ball.
Game winning drive, right?
Yep, game winning drive on 2nd and goal. The decision to throw the ball. Again, it's like trying to be the smartest person in the room when you say we're gonna hand the ball to Kalel 4 plays in a row. You haven't prevented him from getting 4 yards 4 plays in a row all game. Good luck, right? And it almost cost him. So I think that was one of my.
I don't like that play call either.
Yeah, that was one of my and it stopped the clock. Right, because that's one of those things where
USC, would y'all liked it if it worked?
Well, it's the same thing with Kenneth Grant running down the field and scoring a touchdown.
Right.
No, it ain't. That's different. We're gonna get to that later. Shush. We're gonna get to that in a minute.
Dre. Same
no,
thing.
It's not.
Everyone likes it when it works, but right when the play started, I swore. Before it was even an incomplete pass, I said, "What are you doing?" Or I said, "What the F are you doing?"
hey, and don't get me wrong. I said the same thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they treat you up for y'all wrong. I'm just saying if it would have worked, we wouldn't be talking about this right now. You know what I'm saying? They would have gave him more time, though. That would have gave him more time on the clock, but
it would have.
You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't be talking about this. But go ahead, though.
It would have. But regardless, we punched it in, and you know what? Our service academy approach style on offense went in and played a really good USC team and won. You know, so I have no gripes except for a couple of the play calls. And I think we'll talk more about our offense and how sustainable it is coming up. But let's shift a little bit. Let's talk about defense now. Defensively, we came out, and I thought that the way that Wink called the game this week was much more like the way that our previous defensive coordinators were running the defense the last couple of years, right? The way that Mike McDonald and Jesse Minter were running it. Dialed back on the blitzes, which I thought was huge. And they still caught us on a couple. USC still did catch us on a couple where they took advantage of man coverage, but USC actually took advantage of zone coverage a couple times and beat us where a couple people were lost in their zone responsibilities. But man, I think the identity of our defense is blitz sparingly and just let the front four on the defensive line, let them go and do their thing, because Josiah Stewart is just an absolute monster this year. He was unblockable all game long. Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham were pretty much unblockable all game long. Derek Moore had a great game. Rayshon Benny rotated in there and played really well. Our D line dominated that offensive line, and we didn't need to dial up pressure to put Miller Moss on his back. We had him on his back a lot. He was getting beat up that game. I was getting flashbacks of the national championship game last year when I kept seeing him get hit and just force himself to get up. So defensively, I thought the first half looked good. Second half, I thought left a little bit to be desired, but again, we played a really good team and came out with a W. But Jason, let's hear from you. What were your thoughts on the defense?
Yeah, so first half absolutely dominated. I'll go into a little bit in a bit here, but USC's first touchdown, just the negative stuff of it, I just was not a fan of it. So besides the touchdown, but we rushed the three guys, and we still had 3 or 4 guys with one open wide receiver. Not sure what happened there. I don't know if that's communication. It has to be. I don't know. I don't know. I was not a fan of it. But Derek, you were talking about defense. So better game by Wink. I talked about it last week that I wanted him to tone down the blitzing a little bit. We blitzed 30% of the snaps, almost at 50%. I think the first 2 or 3 games is what we were blitzing at. That, like, I get it. If it works, it works. Awesome. If he's gonna call a blitz, we're gonna blitz. But he toned it down a little bit against a good USC offense. Loved it. It worked. Domination in the first half. That's exactly what I wanted to see. I wanted to see Michigan football on the defensive side of the ball. Putting the offense back on the field to gain a little bit more reps as well too, and get some more gel with all those offensive players that we have. And that defensive front, Derek, right? So you were just talking about that. The line and on the edge. Like, literally, we played like some unhinged, wild, aggressive dogs. Graham, Grant, Moore, Stewart, Benny as well too showed up, really showing teeth. That defensive front.
Sorry.
No, dude. That defensive front, 4 sacks, 7 QB hits, 27 quarterback pressures, 91.2 pass rush grade. Absolutely stellar. And then Stewart 4 tackles, 3 for a loss, 1 forced fumble, and 2 sacks. So he had a 92.9 grade himself, which is the highest grade this season out of any defensive player in all of college football this season. Absolutely stellar. Will Johnson shot out like a freaking cannon. Most pick 6 in a career at Michigan. So congrats, Will J. And then the defense, so the first half, so they forced the Trojans to go 3 and out on each of their first 3 drives to open up the game. None of USC's 10 first half drives that they had before this game had ended up on a 3 and out. Stellar defense in the first half. 5 of USC's 6 first half drives ended up on a punt and 1 field goal made. That is like an amazing first half of defensive play. We just got to get it together to kind of complete a whole game. But, they're out there a lot. The communication is here and there. Secondary needs some work yet. Linebackers need some work yet. But it's been stellar. Stellar first half.
Yeah, absolutely. So got to address a comment here. So I think Pretty obvious, yeah. Probably the three best looking guys in the podcasting business. Not only smart, but good hairlines, and yes, good people. So I did throw this out there last year. I said that I would grow a mustache once we got 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. So it might not grow so much here or here, but I can grow a pretty good Super Troopers style mustache right here. Which if we get to 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel, you'll see
subscribe. Go ahead, subscribe. I want to see it. I want to see it. I know y'all want to see it too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, thanks. That made my day, man. For real. Just reading that. It was funny. Oh man. Well, go ahead.
But Dre, what about you? What were your thoughts on the defensive performance?
Our defense played great. I think Wink called a great game where everybody was asking for his head. He had a redemption game, you know what I'm saying? I think those two touchdowns USC that Michigan gave away was all brain farts by not communicating in the back end. And I think the touchdown, my man jumped over Makari and Hill. I think if Makari would have just been over just a little bit more, I think he knocks that away and we on. So it's just little stuff we got to clean up on the back end, like communication and placement. And I think we gonna be a top 10 defense like we always be. Will Johnson is the man, as y'all already know. You know what I'm saying? F around and get buffed up. You know what I mean? But I think our linebackers, they need to step it up a little bit down. That long run, if Jay Sean is not out of position like he is, he tackles him, and that's like a 5 or 6 yard run instead of a 60, 70 yard run that he got. So it just little stuff we got to clean up. Maybe, you know what I'm saying, he's just not used to what's going on. I don't know, but Ernest, he tackled great. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no problems with him. He's still doing what he do. You know what I'm saying? I understand people want our linebackers to be Junior and Mike Barrett, but you know what I'm saying? Them was like two of the best combination linebackers that we ever had. So it's gonna be it's a lot of tough shoes to fill. You know what I'm saying, with everybody in their expectations. But Jay Sean, he'll step it up. But other than that, our defense was stellar. Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, the boys on the D line, Josiah Stewart creeping up into the first round and for a first round pick. Like, man, it's been good. You know what I'm saying? Like I said in the beginning, all we had to do is take some time, and Wink had to settle in to college. That's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? And I think he's doing that, and I think we're gonna get better and better as the season go on.
Yeah, and you know, so we didn't have the benefit of playing a preseason schedule against teams like Marshall, and you know, even looking back at previous
Ohio State in the Big Ten, like they have like in college football, I think they have like the 131st like strength of schedule. Like it's just a joke.
Yeah,
Michigan's got like 10.
Yeah, so we didn't have, you know, we didn't have that benefit, right? And the past few years we did. The past few years even once we got into Big Ten play, we didn't start off with a team like USC. We moved into Big Ten play against teams like Rutgers, right?
Rutgers, yeah.
Decent program, but you know, still at the when you talk about the caliber of top teams in the country, not where programs like USC or Texas are, or Ohio State or Michigan, right? So it's been a tough start to the season, and what that means is that our coaching staff needed to learn to gel just like our players. And you know, we might have maybe not liked with an easy schedule everything that we saw, and we probably would have been complaining about 31 to 10 wins or 28 to 18 wins like people were against Arkansas State, where the game was easily won, but we're complaining about not winning it enough. But instead, we had the early season loss, and then, I kind of feel like the expectations and the confidence level from the Michigan fan base was kind of low going into this game, and that's probably why the atmosphere ended up being pretty crazy, is because it didn't take long to realize, like, hey, welcome USC to big boy football. Now strap up and play. But I thought defensively it was the best called game. Jair Hill, I thought he played his best game of the season.
6 tackles.
Yep, absolutely.
6 tackles, and he gave up like 2 catches for like, let me pull it up. He only gave up like 2 catches. I had it here earlier.
If he can play like that for the rest of the year, we're going to be A1.
Yeah, one on that 3rd and 16 that Dre was talking about as well too.
Yeah,
but,
two catches, two catches, but one was a touchdown. But I honestly, I feel like the safety has to get over there, and I feel like that's a play where
y'all feel me. Yeah, safety got to get over there.
Watching that, watching the game live, I felt like there was a big opportunity, and I know that there's hesitation from players because of targeting and stuff. That there was a hit.
Yes,
there was a hit.
I said it.
You got to punish someone that's trying to do that. You got to lay it on them.
His ribs wide open. You're supposed to.
Yeah, absolutely. And if he hangs on to it, then hey, he hangs on to it.
Yeah,
but
if
we can't get a hand on it, get a body on the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought for the most part he played really good. So I was excited to see that defensively. I was excited to see more of our defensive identity, and that's going to be something that I think is going to continue to improve. I thought Ernest Hausman played really good at the linebacker position. I thought Jayshon Barham, he flies around. He just gets himself out of position.
Out of position, right? Yeah, that's it.
Right.
Like he doing good. He just out of position. He just gotta stay disciplined. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like he gotta stay disciplined, man. Because if he would have been in position, that, like I said, that run doesn't happen.
Yeah, and I think that our defense against Texas was an anomaly. I think that there was concerns coming out of that game, like, whoa, what's going on here? I think it was an anomaly. I think that it was a poorly called game, and I think that Texas outcoached us and out executed us. In large part to Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers put a lot of plays on his shoulders.
If we play Texas right now, like if we was coming up to Texas this week, it would have looked vastly different from what it was in week 2.
I agree. So I'm going to answer another question here before we keep going. Corey posted another question, and since he complimented our hairlines, I figure we should. So do you think we make the playoffs with this schedule? I still think it's a tough schedule to get through. In order for us to win, to make the playoffs, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to split Ohio State and Oregon. Yep, absolutely. We have to win at least one of those in order to get an at-large spot in the playoffs. I think that I think we can afford to lose one of them, because I think that the brand of Michigan and our strength of schedule will favor us being an at-large bid if we don't win.
That USC win gonna come pay big dividends at the end of the season, because USC is legit. They just, I don't know what happened. I'm glad they didn't beat us, but yeah, that's gonna pay big dividends at the end.
And I. Not to keep going back to Fresno State, but I think that win is going to strengthen our resume as well, because I think there's a pretty good shot that Fresno State is potentially going to be the non-Power 4 team that gets an automatic bid as a conference champ, the highest ranked conference champion.
They've been doing good since they lost to us. Yeah, I haven't seen anything. I haven't watched them. I'm Michigan all the time, so I don't see nobody else. But they undefeated after us now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
that could be a good loss for them. You know what I'm saying? In the long run.
Yep. But let's talk about this offense though, because in typical Michigan fan fashion, right? We always got to complain about something, right? So I personally loved it. I love that style of football. I love just seeing smash mouth football get played. I love seeing offensive linemen block. I love seeing tight ends on the field. I love seeing running backs breaking tackles, and I love seeing defenses start to wear down. I like violent football, and so I thought it was sexy. I thought it was sexy football because I like to see the collisions and the hitting like what we saw. But there's a lot of questions out there. Is this sustainable? Is this a sustainable type of offense to run in order to get to where we want to go, which is making the playoffs again, which is winning the Big Ten again, which is beating Oregon, beating Ohio State? Jason, start with you. What do you think? Do you think our offense is sustainable? Do you think the way we played is sustainable?
We need to.
I mean, in
I
certain
agree with what's on the screen.
situations, and yeah, like in certain situations, certain scenarios, depending on the game and what adjustments we're gonna make. I mean, we talked about it before we went live. So just a fun fact here. So we're 6-0 when passing for less than 100 yards since 2016. Most recent was against Washington in 21. We had 44 passing yards, and then at Penn State last season, everyone remembers that game. 60 passing yards, and then last weekend was for 32. We gotta be able to complete a forward pass. I think it's coming. I think we tried that flea flicker as well too to see if that was going to work as well too. Our receivers have to get open and create separation as well too, but we're gonna have to like pass the ball. Getting Colston Loveland consistently healthy and into the game, he provides so many different elements to this team. He's got to be present. He's got to be healthy. He's got to be on the field. Defenses are constantly thinking about him as well too. Like, I don't know. So I'm not answering your question, Derek, because I think there's a lot more in the season to see from, but like what we do in certain game time situations against specific opponents, it's going to work. But against other teams, maybe Oregon, probably not. I think we still beat them. But definitely against Ohio State, we're going to have to do a forward pass. We're going to have to pass the ball here and there. Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just not going to answer your question right now.
Dre, what about you? Do you think?
No, I don't have an answer.
First off, bring the question up that was on the bottom of the screen. I'm gonna answer that one first.
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
The two of.
No, that one. That's the one I want. The future of it does. So Corey, look, I had the chance to on Sunday. I had the chance to sit down and have breakfast with Connor Stallions and my brother John. Thank you for making that possible, John. I love you for it. We had breakfast, and I asked him. I said, what's our quarterback issue? Like why can't Michigan never have why we never had like a great quarterback? And he explained, he broke it down to me, and it was kind of smart. And I thought about it. I'm like, he right. Now you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna use USC as an example. You know what I mean? They had Carson Palmer, they had Leinart, they had, and who was after him? Mark Sanchez, and what was his name? The last dude named Booty. Y'all remember him? Booty.
Yeah.
What you remember what I'm talking about?
Matt Castle too.
Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is about that, he broke it down as a step ladder. Now you had Carson Palmer, you know what I'm saying? He played 2-3 years, let's say, but under him was Matt Leinart. He got to sit back and study him, you know what I'm saying, for them 2 or 3 years. And when it was his turn, Mark Sanchez got to watch and study him, you know what I'm saying? And then when it was his turn, it was the Booty dude. I forgot his name. So I'm sorry, guy. But
John David Booty.
Yeah, there you go. John David Booty, you know what I'm saying? He was right under him. So with that being said, is we cannot have a quarterback gap, and that's what we had in Michigan this year. That's why we're how we are with the quarterback situation. I don't think we need no transfer quarterback. I think next year we should be all right with quarterbacks. I mean, maybe as some backups or you know what I'm saying.
Jaden Davis and then Brady Hart. I mean,
you know
I
what I'm
would say
saying?
Bryce Underwood, but
No. We got somebody else. We got somebody else before Brady Hurt.
Brady
We got
Hart,
my man. No, that's we
Jaden
got.
Davis.
No, it's somebody else. It's somebody else. We just got. He a 4-star. He a 4-star quarterback. The the 9 quarterback in the 2025 class. I forgot his name.
Not Brady Hart.
No. Brady Hurt is 25. I mean, is it 26?
Yeah, Hart's 26.
We got a 25 quarterback too. You know, I don't remember his name though.
Oh, Carter Smith.
There you go. There you go. You know what I'm saying? Carter Smith. So if they can all pan out, we should be straight in the quarterback, you know what I'm saying, room for a while. You know what I mean? We just got to build our offensive lineup. So I don't think we're gonna need no transfers and nothing like that. But that's the answer to that. But now with the offense being sustainable for the rest of the year, I do think so. I think we gotta, like I said, get creative and find a way to get the ball downfield more. But I think it, man. I mean, why not? We was doing it before we actually trusted JJ, and we was putting Cade and JJ back and forth. So you know what I'm saying. We was running the ball. We ran it 32 times against Penn State. Like, it's possible. You know what I'm saying. Why people saying like, oh, y'all ain't gonna be able to run it on great defense. Penn State was a great defense, and we ran it on their throat. So it just depends on how we do it and if we can get dynamic and creative with it. If we can, I have no worries because our defense is gonna keep us in the game. It's like I said, it's all on our O. It's all on our O, really. If our offensive line can gel and we can get more creative in the passing and running game, I think I don't really see us losing too many more games.
So I'm gonna pull something another comment back up here. That I wish we'd play Mullins and Edwards in at the same time, right? So I agree with this.
Me too.
And so I think one of the things that we got to accept is now that we've committed to RG being the starting quarterback, this is going to be the identity of our team. We're gonna throw the ball maybe 15 times a game, and we're gonna pound the rock with Mullins and Edwards. And Mullins will probably end up getting maybe Mullins gets 15 to 20 carries and Edwards gets 10 to 12, but they're both going to get their opportunities to tote the rock. And
but we need Edwards in a passing game as well. They need to put him in the slot.
That's where I agree with this, because so one of the things that we have to be able to do. So now that we've committed to Orgy, right? Orgy is one of the best athletes on the football team, and that's been said about him for a couple of years now. Jim Harbaugh was talking about having him return kicks and punts, right? And finding a way to get him on the field. So if you look at who do we want the ball to be in possession with, right? Who do we want to have the ball in their hands? Alex Orgy, Donovan Edwards, Khalil Mullins, Colston Loveland, and the other playmaker that we've seen or at least we've designed some plays for him is Samaj Morgan, and he can be electric with the ball in his hands too. So if you consistently put Donovan Edwards out on the field at the same time as Khalil Mullins, that can be a mismatch, because that he can be kind of used like Deebo Samuel in a way where you line him up in the slot, you line him up as a receiver, you get him matched up on a linebacker, you put him in the backfield. You don't. Defenses might not really know what personnel grouping Michigan is in, because that's one of the strengths of Donovan Edwards is his athleticism. And that was when, as a freshman and a sophomore, that was what he brought that defense has really struggled with, was his mismatch that he could bring to linebackers in the passing game. And he was used early on as a receiving threat, and that's kind of faded. So I think that we need to put Edwards on the field. We need to keep our best athletes on the field, and we don't need to change our identity, right? We don't need to change the fact that we can still only throw 15 passes in the game, but we can put a lot of stress on the defense just by making sure that our best athletes are on the field, and we can get creative with how we do it. And so now we joked and people are saying that Michigan's the new service academy, but here's the difference between Michigan being able to run the ball 45, 50 times a game versus a service academy is service academies have guys who are in the going through the Air Force Academy, going through the Army Academy, going through the Navy Academy, right? Michigan has football players that were recruited to go to Michigan and play football. Guys that are at the service academies, they weren't highly recruited guys, right? They're talented guys. They're good athletes, but you're talking about offensive linemen that are undersized, defensive linemen that are undersized, a very simplified offensive option scheme that they run because it's easy to learn and execute without the full-time commitment. Michigan's got some of the best offensive linemen that have been recruited year over year, right? So while the statistics showing the fact that we run the ball a lot can certainly be compared to a service academy, this type of offense is an absolute nightmare to try and prepare for because it's unique compared to anything else any other team is going to see all season long. So defenses are going to have a heck of a time trying to prepare for an offense when they're so used to the spread college schemes that they play week in, week out, to come in and now play an offense that is just going to smash the shit out of you over and over and over again.
Basically.
And you know they're going to do it, but you don't necessarily, if they get creative with the play calls, you don't necessarily know where they're going to do it. You don't know, is Orgy keeping it around the edge? Are they running a quarterback power? Are they bringing Samaj on a reverse? Where's the threat coming from? Are they gonna leak Loveland out over the middle because they see that he's in man coverage? That's where we can get creative with offense without losing the identity of smashing the shit out of teams over and over and over again.
We got to be creative with it. That's it. If we can get creative with it, it's over. And Alex get more comfortable. The more comfortable he get, the more better he gonna get, man. And I'm telling y'all, man, that USC game did something for his confidence. You could just see it in his movements and how he was celebrating. He ain't throw a damn touchdown pass, but when I tell you he was so happy, like, this is it, man. I've been telling people, y'all just chill, man. Chill, man. We gonna figure it out. And it's the run we about to go on. So we should be going into Oregon. We should be going into the Oregon game 7-1. If we can go into that game 7-1, we got a good shot at some things.
That's the goal. So let's look ahead here, right? So we spent a lot of time recapping the big win, and now we've got another Big Ten game coming up again at the Big House against Minnesota. Junkie. Yeah, and we were at the Minnesota game last year in Minnesota, where we just absolutely ran away with the game. But let's look ahead to Minnesota. So Jason, we'll start with you, and you can talk offense, defense, special teams, anything you want to talk about. But what are you expecting looking ahead to Minnesota this weekend?
Nothing's going to change against Minnesota. Like if we're talking about our defensive line, we're going to absolutely dominate them. Same thing we did last year. I'm projecting. I mean, teams like, you think they would smarten up and not throw Will Johnson's way, or at least be aware of where he's at, especially at the quarterback position on the opposition side. But he's going to get his regardless. But I'm still projecting another pick six. I don't know if it's going to be Will J or not, but our defensive line is absolutely going to crush. Is absolutely going to crush their offense. Offensive line, they're going to get to the quarterback. We're going to see a lot more of that this game as well too. But I kind of want to go back a little bit. Like we should still talk about the second half of last weekend's game. We should still talk about that a little bit. I know Dre wants to talk about it. He's smirking right now. Take care of the damn ball. We gave USC 2 touchdowns. We gave them 14 points. Dre and I, so Derek, you might owe us money. I can't remember what your prediction was, but Dre and I predicted 27-21. We were 3 points up. That should have never happened. That should have never happened. We should have blew them out. The way we were playing this game, yes, did USC make adjustments in the second half? It resulted in 21 points. Derek, you talked about it as well, too, that they had to stop our run, so we started throwing screen passes. Like, we didn't play our offensive game fully, I think, to its full potential in the second half, but those late second half mistakes that killed us. I mean, on the same drive, Hill ran the running back down in the third quarter, saved a touchdown. I think it was at like the 4.5-minute mark, something like that. Held them to 3rd and goal. Kenneth Grant picks up a fumble, and USC's running back, Woody Marks, stripped it away.
Lay your ass
I mean,
down,
that was
okay?
dude, that was my dream. I've been saying it. No, I've been saying it last season.
Hey,
And
you
I've
said
been saying it for like almost
you
a
said
season and
a
quarter.
catching touchdown, not a rushing. You said catching.
No, I changed my mind. I just want him to score a touchdown. Like I kicked my chair over. Like I can't blame him. He just needs to be aware and protect the ball, obviously. But then after that, USC gets the ball back. Like I said, Woody Marks makes a good play and ships the ball away from Kenneth Grant. But then we blitz a corner. It's a 2-on-1 with no back. I mean, I don't hate the play call, but like
I don't think that was a play call. I don't
think
that was a play call. I think that was miscommunication.
Definitely miscommunication then, because we had no backup, no insurance. We had a 2-on-1 there and resulted in
I think that was a miscommunication.
And then Edwards fumbles in the 4th quarter, and USC scores a touchdown on 3rd and 16 over Hill. Page is a little late to the party, but I mean, Dre, you already said it. The ribs are wide open. You got to take a shot right there. We at least get the ball loose, but that resulted in the second touchdown as well too. So 21 points in the second half. We got to play a full game. I trust our defense. I'm glad we laid off on the blitzing a little bit too. So like I said earlier in the pod, 30% against USC. We brought the house, but I mean, this is our identity on offense as well too. Like to throw under 40 yards a game and not push a forward pass against good teams. So Minnesota, we might not be able to. We're not going to do that. We don't have to do that. If Loveland's back, we're definitely going to throw down the field, maybe a short post throw down the middle, like he's going to get his. But my point is, we just can't make mistakes. We just can't turn the ball over. And it's like I feel like a grade school football coach. I do like it's stating the obvious here, but we can't. We have to be disciplined, mistake-free football. That's Michigan football because it's how we run our offense to the last how many years as well. But yeah, that second half, man, just too many mistakes. Too many mistakes late in the second half. It wasn't the full second half, but late in the second half. It's just,
hey, bro,
just is what it is.
You need a hug. It's okay.
Yeah, I got ADHD.
That's why I just let you go ahead and go ahead. I ain't even say it. That's why I ain't say nothing. I'll let you go ahead and
get it on out. Do it again.
Lay your ass down. Lay your ass down, KG. Lay down. Lay your ass down. But anyway,
and
Minnesota, man.
Hill
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Hill. He's young. He's gonna make mistakes, but he still had a stellar game. Still had a very stellar game last weekend.
All right. No, my prediction for Minnesota is we gonna run it down their throat. I don't think they're gonna be able to stop nothing.
Nope.
I think Grant and Mason gonna have another game. Jason already called a pick six from somebody. I say it's from Will. He already the record holder in pick sixes in Michigan history. So I think he's gonna add to it. I think we're gonna sack that quarterback a lot of times. I don't want to say the score. I'll say the score at the end, but yeah, we're gonna win. I think we're gonna win convincingly too.
Yeah. So, Minnesota unfortunately doesn't match up well against the run. Iowa just ran for like 270 some yards against them last week. So look at this here. Let's look at the stats last week from Minnesota versus Iowa. Iowa ran for 272 yards and passed for 62 yards. In route to beating Minnesota 31-14.
Exactly how I was about to look was.
Minnesota's not good at running the football either. So Minnesota's basically going to become one-dimensional. In our rush defense, we've given up a couple of big runs, and that's it. We've given up like 3 or 4 runs where a linebacker was out of position and they ended up busting a long run. But besides that, man, that's been a tough front to run into. So I think we're going to probably turn Minnesota into a one-dimensional offense that's trying to throw the ball. I hope we sit back in zone because man coverage hasn't worked. Blitzing and going man coverage, that has not been the recipe, and that's what Wink initially brought to the table and started up as his recipe. But when Will Johnson gets to sit in zone coverage, he can cover man. He's probably the by far the best player on Michigan's defense in man coverage. But when he gets to sit back in zone, man, that guy can read a play and that guy can break on a football.
Especially when a receiver just backpedals basically, and it's just
okay. Y'all about to say, did y'all see that too? Okay, that y'all saw that on live TV because I'm like, why is you can't back? Oh, okay, I see why. Never mind.
It's not the first time. I mean, this season in college football, like I've seen a receiver just backpedal and just give it up like that. So,
I didn't get it. I knew that was coming. He getting the ball. Oh, never mind. Pick 6.
So I think we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see more of the same offensively, and it might be frustrating for us as Michigan fans early on because that means it's gonna be a slow-paced game early on because we'll be pounding the rock and controlling the clock. But I think once we get up a couple scores, I would not be surprised if we do open up the passing game a little bit. And I know that a lot of times the message over and over and over and over again about Michigan has always been they're saving their offense for the big games. They're saving their offense for the big games. They're not showing anything. You know what? I think we got to show something, right? I think we got to show something. I think we got to show a passing offense. Like if we get a few score touchdown or a few touchdown lead on Minnesota, I think we got to start to open up the passing offense a little bit to put it on tape. One, so that we can get live game reps and go and correct it on film because there's too much young, raw inexperience in the receiving core that we've already seen come out a couple of times with Frederick Moore not going in high pointing a ball that's
the talent's there though. I mean, for sure, right. The talent's there.
Right. So I think we'll actually, once we get a little bit of a lead, I think we'll do opposite of what teams do, right? Usually teams throw the ball and then they start running the ball when they get the lead. I think once we get the lead, we'll start throwing the ball a little bit to try and get that side of the game going, or at least make defenses prepare for it. At least put it out there for defenses to know, like, hey, we still have passing plays in this offense. But I think that we're going to go in and the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to beat the shit out of them inside and just run the rock with Mullins and Edwards and Orgy.
Especially losing to North Carolina week 1. I get it's week 1, but they also let James Madison come into Chapel Hill and put up like 70 points. So.
Yeah, I know. That was crazy. All right. Predictions. Jason, what do you think? Score prediction for this week?
I'm thinking 38-6. Michigan.
Ooh.
Obviously.
Got a 31-6. That's crazy. That's crazy.
31-6.
Stop copying, man.
I've got a little bit. Well, we've got an answer here. We'll let Joshua give his answer. 45-10.
I like his better.
I like that.
I'm gonna go with a slower, low scoring game. I'm gonna go 28-14 Michigan. Not as comfortable as we want it to be.
No, that's comfortable. Two touchdown lead is comfortable. That's comfortable.
That's comfortable. And honestly, a game like that would probably be like 28-7, and then that last touchdown ends up coming against
garbage
the third or fourth stringers.
Yeah. So yeah, that's comfortable for sure.
Cool. All right. Well, let's go back to that second half one more time. All right. Let's go back to the second half of the USC game before we sign off. So a lot of times we as Michigan fans also want to point to what went wrong and say it was on us. But we can't forget that Lincoln Riley's a head coach, a good head coach. So we can't forget that USC is a good football team, and they made some good halftime adjustments. They offensively, they came out and made some good adjustments against what we were doing defensively. So, the Donovan Edwards fumble, that hurt, and I wanted to see Kenneth Grant go rumbling, tumbling, bumbling all the way for a touchdown, and I absolutely know that was what popped into his mind as soon as
he picked up. Most definitely the goal score, most definitely.
And in hindsight, like I got super excited for him, and when I saw a running back running to him, I was like, at the very least, just absolutely wreck this guy. Like at the very least, just embarrass this running back.
I thought he was gonna stiff arm me too. I'm like, he's about to stiff arm the shit out of him, dog.
and then when he stole the football, I was like, oh, come on, man.
And he looked shocked. He looked shocked.
And here's the thing though, is that they got the football back and ended up scoring a touchdown. Whereas if that would have been ruled an incomplete pass, it was 4th down and they would have kicked a field goal. So they ended up taking an extra 4 points off the play. Yep. But I think another thing is as we can be critical. Got a couple things here. It was a great play by the running back. 31-7 prediction here from Brett. But I think as much as we can be critical about where things went wrong for Michigan in the second half and how USC was able to come back into the game when it looked like we were about to run away with it and completely boa constrictor them. That's what I expected in the third quarter. You got to take your hat off and give a little credit to USC too for making some good halftime adjustments and coming out and playing some good football in the second half.
They did that there for sure.
Nah.
I didn't think it was gonna be easy, but like if we limit the mistakes that we had, the game don't be nowhere near how it was.
But that's a good
by 2 touchdowns.
But that's a good thing. That's a good thing when you can go play a good team and beat them and go back and say there was a lot of mistakes that we made that we need to correct.
For sure.
Thank you, Mullins.
All right. Because without that big run, thank you, Link and Mullins. Because like I said, Link sprung that block to get him. Oh, and then Max got him in the end zone. Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I gotta get a picture with
happy
Max.
Birthday. Also, happy birthday, Sue.
We love you, Sue. Happy birthday.
Love you.
She hasn't commented on this one.
She probably sleep before we went live.
She was tuning in.
Yeah, I'm sure she's listening.
But,
I don't know. Before we went live, she asked me where was we at, and I told her we were about to go live. She said, you know what I'm saying, it's getting past her bedtime in certain words. So she might be asleep. We love you anyway. So watching or sleep, we know you support.
I'll be honest, it's past my bedtime too.
Mine too.
But all right, Dre. Another Big Ten game coming up here. Let's go 2-0 in the Big Ten. Dre, you wanna sign us off?
Yep. Thank y'all for listening and supporting us like y'all do every week. Please like and subscribe and hit your notification bell so you won't miss not an episode. Love one another, respect one another, and always go blue.
Go blue.
Go blue.